Before you question your worth, before you doubt your value, before you allow loneliness to whisper lies into your spirit, hear this with every fiber of your being. God did not forget you. God did not overlook you. God did not delay you by accident. If you are still single, it is not because you were rejected. It is because you were reserved. And what God reserves, He protects. What God protects, He prepares. And what God prepares, He releases at the appointed time with power that cannot be stopped. You think you are waiting on love, but heaven is waiting on alignment. You think you are missing out, but God is building something within you that marriage could never build at this stage. You are not behind. You are not less desirable. You are not forgotten in a corner of the earth while others celebrate their milestones. God's plan for you is not running late. It is running perfectly. Listen carefully. Singleness is not a punishment. It is a positioning. It is not a delay. It is development. It is not a denial. It is divine design. God knows the weight of the destiny He placed inside you. He knows the calling stamped on your spirit. He knows the battles you will fight and the heights you will reach. And because He knows, He refuses to let you connect with someone who would interrupt what He is building. You see a relationship, God sees a distraction. You see companionship, God sees compromise. You see comfort, God sees collapse. So He keeps you single, not because you are unworthy, but because you are too valuable to attach yourself to someone who is not prepared for the level you are about to step into. There are seasons when God isolates you, not to make you lonely, but to make you powerful. Isolation sharpens discernment. Isolation strengthens prayer. Isolation builds emotional endurance. When you are single, you learn how to stand alone with God before you ever stand beside another human being. You learn how to draw joy from His presence instead of demanding it from people. You learn how to sleep in peace without needing constant reassurance from another voice. God is teaching you how to be whole. And wholeness is dangerous in a world addicted to broken attachments. If you had entered a relationship in your previous state, you would have made that person your center. You would have leaned on them for identity. You would have shaped yourself around their approval. But God refuses to let you build your identity on a human foundation. He wants your identity rooted in Him alone. Because when your identity comes from God, no one can manipulate it, threaten it, or take it away. God kept you single because He is strengthening your standards. Standards are not arrogance. Standards are boundaries protected by wisdom. When you do not know your value, you accept anything that shows attention. But when you understand your worth in the eyes of God, you become selective. You stop entertaining half-hearted interest. You stop chasing validation. You stop negotiating your principles for temporary affection. God would rather let you walk alone for a season than let you walk attached to someone who would slowly drain your destiny. You see couples and wonder why it has not happened for you yet. But you do not see the arguments behind closed doors. You do not see the compromises made out of fear of being alone. God sees everything. And because He sees everything, He protects you from connections that look beautiful on the outside but are unstable at the core. Your singleness is not empty space. It is construction ground. God is rebuilding your mindset. He is healing your past wounds. He is breaking generational patterns that try to repeat through you. He is teaching you to recognize red flags instead of romanticizing them. He is cleansing your heart from attachments that were rooted in insecurity instead of purpose. Do you understand how powerful that is? Many people rush into relationships to escape loneliness, but God is teaching you how to conquer loneliness. Many people look for someone to complete them, but God is showing you that you are complete in Him. When you finally enter marriage, if that is His plan, you will not enter as a half searching for another half. You will enter as a whole person capable of giving love without losing yourself. God kept you single because He is protecting your focus. There are assignments attached to your life. There are skills you must develop. There are risks you must take. There are prayers you must pray in solitude. Relationships require emotional energy. They require time, conversation, compromise. But right now, God wants your energy undivided. He wants your attention undistracted. He wants you building discipline, character, faith, and vision without negotiation. This season is sharpening you, and sharpening is uncomfortable. There are nights when you feel the silence more than you feel God. There are moments when weddings, anniversaries, and social media celebrations press against your heart like a reminder of what you do not yet have. But God is not intimidated by your emotions. He sees them, He honors them, yet He does not rush His timing because of them. Timing is sacred to God. If He released certain blessings before you were spiritually and emotionally prepared, those blessings would become burdens. You pray for companionship, but if that companionship came while you are still healing from past betrayal, you would project your wounds onto someone innocent. You pray for love, but if love came while you still feared abandonment, you would sabotage it with suspicion. So God heals you first. He detoxes your heart from desperation. He removes the fear of missing out. He breaks the lie that you are running out of time. You are not in competition with anyone. You are not on a social timeline. Your life is not measured by marital status. It is measured by obedience and growth. God kept you single because He's elevating your taste. When you were younger, you were attracted to charisma without character. You were impressed by words without consistency. You were drawn to potential without proof. But now your spirit is different. Now you sense when someone is not aligned. Now you feel discomfort when standards are not met. That is growth. That is maturity. That is God refining your discernment. You are no longer impressed by attention. You are impressed by alignment. And alignment is rare. God is also using this season to teach you how to enjoy your own company. Many people cannot sit alone without distraction. They need constant noise, constant messages, constant validation. But you are learning how to build a life that is full even before marriage. You are discovering hobbies. You are strengthening friendships. You are building financial stability. You are expanding spiritually. You are becoming someone who does not need a relationship to feel significant. That is power. Because when you do not need someone, you choose them from strength, not fear. God kept you single because He is writing a different kind of love story for you. Not rushed, not forced, not manipulated. A story built on prayer, preparation, and divine alignment. When God orchestrates a connection, it does not require to shrink. It does not require to beg. It does not require to compromise your values. It flows in peace. Peace is the confirmation. If you constantly feel anxiety, confusion, and instability in a connection, that is not God's design. God's design carries clarity, it carries steadiness, it carries respect. And until that kind of connection appears, He would rather you remain single than settle for emotional chaos. Understand this, singleness reveals what you truly believe about God. Do you trust Him enough to wait? Do you believe He knows your desires? Do you believe He is capable of bringing the right person at the right time? Or do you think you must control everything yourself? Trust is proven in waiting. Anyone can praise God when prayers are instantly answered. But can you remain faithful when the answer is still forming behind the scenes? Can you resist the urge to take matters into your own hands? Can you silence the voice that says, maybe it will never happen? God's silence is not absence. It is strategy. While you are wondering, He is arranging. While you are waiting, He is preparing someone who is also being shaped, corrected, matured, and aligned. You are not the only one in process. The person destined to walk with you is also being refined. And if you met them too early, you would not recognize their value, or they would not recognize yours. So God synchronizes growth. He builds you separately so that when you meet, You connect from maturity, not immaturity, from clarity, not confusion, from strength, not insecurity. God kept you single because He refuses to let you repeat cycles. Some of you come from families where relationships were unstable, where communication was broken, where loyalty was inconsistent. God saw those patterns, and instead of allowing you to rush into something similar, He pulled you into a season of awareness. He opened your eyes. He showed you what you must never tolerate again. Breaking cycles takes time. Healing takes time. Maturity takes time. And God is not interested in temporary happiness that leads to long-term regret. He is interested in lasting alignment that strengthens your future. Do not interpret your singleness as stagnation. Look at who you have become in this season. Look at your increased wisdom. Look at your emotional control. Look at your spiritual depth. Look at your independence. Look at your resilience. Those qualities were forged in solitude. If you had been distracted by constant relationship drama, would you have grown this way? If you had been consumed by pleasing someone else, would you have discovered your purpose this clearly? God kept you single because He sees beyond the present moment. You see today. He sees 10 years ahead. You see emotions. He sees consequences. You see chemistry. He sees compatibility of destiny. And destiny matters more than feelings. Feelings can change overnight, but alignment rooted in God withstands storms. There will come a day when you look back at this season and thank God for every unanswered message, every failed talking stage, every connection that faded. You will realize that what felt like rejection was protection. What felt like delay was development. What felt like loneliness was leadership training. You are not being hidden because you are unwanted. You are being hidden because you are being prepared. And preparation is sacred. God kept you single because He wants you so secure in Him that when love finally arrives, it enhances your life but does not define it. You will love deeply, but you will never lose yourself. You will commit faithfully, but you will ne'er abandon your calling. You will give your heart, but it will always remain anchored in God first. That is the secret. You are not single because you are lacking. You are single because God is intentional. He is not careless with your heart. He is not random with your destiny. He is deliberate. He is strategic. He is precise. And when His plan unfolds, it will not need explanation. It will not need chasing. It will not need convincing. It will align with the peace He has been building inside you all along. And you will understand why every season of waiting was necessary, why every moment of solitude was sacred, and why God kept you single until the exact moment everything made sense and your heart was strong enough to carry the love He designed for you without losing the power He built within you. And hear this with spiritual clarity. God is not only preparing you for someone else, He is preparing you for yourself. There is a version of you that you have not yet met, a stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more spiritually anchored version. And that version cannot be born in the noise of constant romantic distraction. That version rises in stillness. That version is shaped in private surrender. That version is formed when you choose obedience over impulse, when you choose patience over pressure, when you choose trust over panic. God sometimes withholds what you want to reveal who you are becoming. You ask for love, but He is building leadership inside you. You asked for companionship, but He is strengthening your character. You asked for affection, but He is deepening your faith. You asked for marriage, but He is teaching you mastery over your emotions. Because what good is a relationship if you cannot control your reactions? What good is commitment if you cannot remain consistent under pressure? What good is love if you collapse every time you are misunderstood? God is not raising someone fragile. He is raising someone formidable. This season of singleness is teaching you emotional discipline. It is teaching you that attraction is not assignment. Just because someone makes your heart beat faster does not mean they are meant to walk your future with you. God wants you to develop the ability to pause, to pray, to discern before you attach. Discernment is protection. There are connections that feel intense but are temporary. There are conversations that feel magical but are manipulative. There are promises that sound sincere but lack substance. If God had allowed you to step into every opportunity that looked romantic, you would have been entangled in cycles of heartbreak. So He blocks certain doors silently. He allows conversations to fade. He removes interest from people unexpectedly. And you wonder why things shifted, but heaven shifted them. You think someone lost interest. God withdrew permission. There are moments when you blame yourself. You analyze your appearance, your personality, your worth. But sometimes it had nothing to do with your flaws. It had everything to do with God redirecting your path. When something collapses quickly, do not always assume failure. Sometimes it is filtration. God filters out what cannot carry your future. And here is another truth you must embrace. God kept you single because your calling requires clarity. When two people unite, their paths intertwine. Their decisions affect one another. Their timing must align. But before God allows your path to merge with someone else's, He ensures you are walking confidently in your own direction. Confusion in purpose creates chaos in partnership. If you do not know who you are or where you are going, you will cling to anyone who seems certain. But God wants you certain first, certain in your value. S, certain in your mission, certain in your boundaries, certain in your faith, so that when someone approaches you, you are not swayed by charm, but anchored by conviction. You are not just waiting for a partner. You are becoming a pillar. God kept you single because He is detoxifying you from cultural pressure. Society shouts timelines. Society glorifies weddings more than wisdom. Society measures success by relationship status, but God measures success by obedience and transformation. He does not rush to impress the world. He works in quiet power. The world says, settle before it is too late. God says, trust me, I am never late. The world says, take whoever shows interest. God says, wait for alignment. The word says, compromise your standards to keep them. God says, stand firm, and I will send someone who respects your standards. This is where faith becomes action, because trusting God with your romantic future is one of the most vulnerable acts of surrender. It is easier to trust Him with abstract goals than with your heart. But your heart matters to Him more than you realize. He created your desire for companionship. He understands your longing for intimacy. He sees your silent tears when loneliness feels heavy. And still, He asks you to trust Him. Trust is not passive. Trust is active obedience. Trust means walking away when your emotions beg you to stay. Trust means declining what looks good because you sense it is not God's best. Trust means resisting the urge to compare your timeline to others. Trust means silencing the fear that whispers, what if I end up alone? If God wanted you alone permanently, He would remove the desire from your heart. But the desire remains because purpose remains. And purpose is not random. God kept you single because He is refining your communication. Many relationships fail not because of lack of love, but because of lack of wisdom in speech. In this season, God is teaching you when to speak and when to remain silent. He is teaching you how to express needs without aggression. He is teaching you how to listen without defensiveness. He is teaching you how to confront without destroying. These lessons are learned best before covenant, not after crisis. He is also training your patience. And patience is not weakness. It is strength under control. Anyone can react quickly, but it takes spiritual maturity to wait with composure. When you learn to wait without bitterness, you become unshakable. Your peace no longer depends on external outcomes. Your joy is no longer postponed until someone chooses you. You are steady, and steady people build stable futures. God kept you single because He is exposing hidden insecurities. When you are not constantly affirmed by romantic attention, your insecurities surface. You confront feelings of inadequacy. You confront fears of rejection. You confront doubts about attractiveness, worth, and timing. This exposure is uncomfortable, but it is necessary because insecurities that remain hidden will sabotage you later. God would rather you face your inner battles now than carry them into a relationship and wound someone else with unresolved pain. He is strengthening your self-respect. Self-respect is not pride. It is recognition of value. When you respect yourself, you do not tolerate inconsistency. You do not beg for clarity. You do not shrink to fit someone's comfort zone. You understand that you are accountable to God for how you allow others to treat you. And here a deeper layer. God kept you single because He is building spiritual endurance within you. Marriage is not sustained by attraction alone. It requires forgiveness. It requires sacrifice. It requires resilience during misunderstandings. If you cannot endure a season of waiting, how will you endure seasons of testing within marriage? God trains you in smaller trials before larger responsibilities. Waiting is training. Loneliness is training. Delayed gratification is training. Every time you choose prayer over impulse, you strengthen your spiritual muscle. Every time you resist unhealthy attachment, you grow in discipline. Every time you say no to temporary pleasure for long-term alignment, you expand your capacity. Capacity matters because when God releases something significant, you must have the capacity to sustain it. Many people lose blessings because they were not prepared to handle them. God does not give you what will destroy you. He gives you what you are strong enough to steward. God kept you single because He is protecting your emotional investment. Love is powerful. It binds hearts. It shapes decisions. It influences direction. If you invest that power into the wrong person, you may spend years untangling yourself. So God intervenes early. He disrupts attachments before they deepen. He allows distance before dependence forms. Interruption is mercy. Rejection is redirection. Delay is design. You are not abandoned. You are being guided. And while you wait, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. Your standards are becoming sharper. Your intuition is becoming clearer. Your faith is becoming stronger. You are no longer desperate for attention. You are disciplined in expectation. You are comfortable in self-development. You are no longer searching for someone to rescue you. You are partnering with God to build yourself. This is not weakness. This is preparation for greatness. When the right person enters your life, they will meet someone who has already been refined by fire. Someone who knows how to pray through storms. Someone who knows how to communicate through conflict. Someone who values peace over ego. Someone who honors commitment because they learned loyalty to God first. That is the kind of foundation that sustains love. Do not misinterpret silence as stagnation. Sometimes God hides you to preserve you. Not everyone needs access to your growth season. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your transformation. Some blessings require privacy before public celebration. God kept you single because He is writing a testimony through your patience. One day, when alignment unfolds, you will speak from experience, not theory. You will encourage others, not from desperation, but from victory. You will testify that waiting was not wasted. You will testify that standards were worth defending. You will testify that trusting God with your heart produced peace beyond expectation. Until then, stand firm. Guard your heart without hardening it. Stay hopeful without becoming anxious. Continue growing without becoming restless. Let God shape your character more than your circumstances shape your mood. You are not incomplete. You are in process. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. And as you walk through this season with dignity, with discipline, with unwavering trust in God, you are proving that your faith is not dependent on immediate gratification. It is anchored in divine wisdom. It is anchored in eternal timing. It is anchored in the unshakable truth that God's plan for your life, including your relationships, is not random, not careless, not delayed, but intentional, precise, and perfectly aligned with DH. Destiny. He designed for you long before you ever questioned why you are still single. And understand this with spiritual sharpness. God is not just shaping your future relationship. He is shaping your spiritual authority. There is a strength that only develops when you learn how to stand before God alone without leaning on a human voice to confirm what He has already spoken into your spirit. When you are single, your prayer life deepens differently. Your conversations with God become more honest, more raw, more vulnerable. You are not hiding behind someone else's face. You are building your own. God is teaching you how to hear Him clearly. When you are emotionally entangled, it becomes difficult to separate God's direction from your desires. Feelings can become loud. Attachment can distort judgment. But in this season of singleness, God is refining your ability to discern His will above your wants. He is training your spirit to recognize peace as guidance and confusion as caution. That sensitivity is priceless. Because one day, when a connection presents itself, you will not be guided by excitement alone. You will be guided by spiritual clarity. God kept you single because He is strengthening your internal foundation. A building does not collapse because of what is visible. It collapses because of what is weak underneath. In this quiet season, God is reinforcing the hidden areas of your character. He is correcting pride you did not know was there. He is softening stubbornness that would have created conflict. He is healing jealousy that could have poisoned trust. He is humbling ego that could have destroyed harmony. This is not punishment. This is precision. God works with detail. He adjusts attitudes. He refines motives. He exposes intentions. And sometimes the delay in your romantic life is not about external timing, but internal alignment. When your heart is aligned with His will, you attract differently, you choose differently, you respond differently, you no longer chase intensity, you value integrity, you no longer crave drama, you seek depth, you no longer pursue attention, you prioritize intention. God kept you single because He is developing your independence in a way that will bless your future. Independence does not mean isolation from love. It means you are not emotionally dependent on another person for stability. It means you can function, grow, and thrive without constant reassurance. It means your happiness is rooted in your relationship with God, not in someone's text messages. This kind of independence prevents emotional manipulation. It prevents fear-based attachment. It prevents you from tolerating disrespect just to avoid being alone. When you are emotionally whole, you cannot be controlled by affection, and that is powerful. There is also a financial dimension to this preparation. God may be teaching you stewardship. He may be building discipline in your spending, vision in your investments, wisdom in your planning. Marriage multiplies responsibilities. If you cannot manage yourself alone, partnership becomes pressure. So God uses singleness as a training ground for responsibility. He watches how you handle what you have before He adds more to your hands. Faithfulness in the small seasons qualifies you for larger ones. God kept you single because He is elevating your expectations beyond superficial attraction. Beauty fades, charm fluctuates, but character sustains. In this season, your taste is maturing. You are no longer impressed by surface qualities alone. You look deeper. You observe how someone handles stress. You notice how they treat others. You pay attention to their consistency, their humility, their reverence for God. This level of awareness is not accidental. It is cultivated. God does not want you dazzled. He wants you discerning. And here is another dimension you must not overlook. God may be using your singleness to make you an example. In a generation that rushes into relationships out of fear of loneliness, your patience becomes a testimony. Your standards become a statement. Your contentment becomes a sign that fulfillment is possible without immediate romance. You are silently preaching through your discipline. People are watching how you carry yourself. They see that you are not bitter. They see that you are not desperate. They see that you are not chasing validation, and that quiet strength speaks louder than words. It reveals that your trust in God is not theoretical, it is lived. God kept you single because He is protecting your peace. Peace is fragile when it is tied to unstable people. You may have experienced moments when a simple misunderstanding consumed your thoughts for days, when someone's inconsistency disrupted your focus, when a lack of communication created anxiety. Now imagine building a life with someone who constantly disturbs your peace. God will not assign chaos to your destiny, so He removes individuals who cannot steward your calm. He distances you from connections that would have kept you emotionally unsettled. He values your peace more than your impatience. And when God values something, He guards it fiercely. There is also a spiritual warfare aspect to this season. When your destiny carries weight, distractions intensify. Not every attractive opportunity is innocent. Some are designed to divert you from purpose. But when you are anchored in God, you begin to recognize traps disguised as blessings. You feel hesitation where you once felt excitement. You sense misalignment where you once saw potential. That is growth. That is spiritual maturity. God kept you single because He is sharpening your vision for the future. When you are not consumed by relationship drama, you have time to dream boldly. You have time to pursue education, expand business ideas, strengthen your body, deepen your spirituality. You are not splitting your energy, you are multiplying it. Singleness allows momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Confidence rooted in God is not arrogance, it is assurance. It is knowing that your value does not decrease because someone failed to recognize it. It is knowing that rejection is not a verdict, it is a filter. It is knowing that timing is not competition, it is divine orchestration. You must also recognize that God sometimes withholds relationships to protect you from idolizing them. Anything you place above God becomes dangerous. If you believe marriage will complete you, you risk worshiping the institution instead of honoring the Creator. God refuses to share His position in your heart with any human being. He wants to remain your ultimate source of security, identity, and fulfillment. When He is first, everything else falls into healthy order. If a relationship becomes your primary source of joy, you will panic when it is threatened. But if God is your source, you remain steady even when circumstances shift. This stability is what makes love sustainable rather than suffocating. God kept you single because He is teaching you sacred self-control. Desires are natural. Longing is human, but discipline is divine strength. When you learn to govern your impulses, you become powerful. You prove that your emotions do not control you. You prove that your body does not dictate your destiny. You prove that your faith is stronger than temporary cravings. Self-control is preparation for covenant, and covenant requires maturity. In this season, God may also be confronting your fear of vulnerability. Sometimes singleness reveals how guarded you have become. It shows you where trust was broken. It exposes where walls were built. God gently invites you to hear without forcing you into premature attachment. He teaches you how to open your heart wisely, not recklessly. Wisdom protects vulnerability. There is a quiet confidence growing inside you now. You may not even recognize it fully, but you are less reactive than before. You are more selective. You are more prayerful in your decisions. You are less impressed by words and more attentive to actions. That shift is evidence of God's hand shaping you. You are not the same person you were years ago. And because you are changing, the kind of partner suitable for you is changing too. God kept you single because He sees the full picture. You see fragments, you see moments. He sees destiny, He sees intersections you cannot imagine. He sees timing you cannot calculate. He sees conversations happening across distances. He sees growth unfolding in someone else's life that must align with yours at the precise moment. Divine timing is not rushed by human emotion. If you try to force what God has not ordained, you will carry unnecessary weight. But when you allow Him to orchestrate, you walk into alignment effortlessly. Doors open without manipulation. Conversations flow without confusion. Peace confirms without pressure. That kind of connection is worth the wait. Until that time arrives, embrace this season with dignity. Speak positively about your future. Refuse to mock your waiting. Refuse to belittle your standards. Refuse to entertain fear-based narratives. You are not missing out. You are being molded. Every day you remain obedient. You are strengthening your spiritual spine. Every day you choose patience. You are investing in your future stability. Every day you trust God instead of rushing. You are declaring that His wisdom surpasses your emotions. And that declaration has power. So lift your head, guard your heart, deepen your faith, expand your vision. Let God continue His work in you without resistance. Because when He completes what He started in this season, you will not only be ready for love, you will be ready for legacy, ready for leadership within your home, ready for partnership that reflects maturity and strength, ready to build something that honors God not only in celebration but in discipline, not only in passion but in purpose. Not only in companionship, but in unwavering commitment rooted in the foundation He carefully constructed during the sacred season when He kept you single and shaped you into someone capable of sustaining the blessing He has been preparing all along. There is something even deeper unfolding in this season, something you may not yet recognize because it is happening beneath the surface of your daily routine. God is recalibrating your desires, not removing them, but purifying them. The things you once thought you wanted, the traits you once prioritized, the fantasies you once entertained, He is quietly adjusting them. What once looked attractive now looks unstable. What once seemed impressive now feels immature. That shift is not coincidence. That is spiritual refinement. When God refines desire, He protects destiny. You are no longer attracted to chaos disguised as passion. You are no longer drawn to unpredictability labeled as excitement. You are beginning to crave stability, depth, reverence for God, emotional safety, intellectual connection, shared vision. This maturity did not appear overnight. It was cultivated in the quiet moments when you chose reflection over reaction. God kept you single because He is rewriting your definition of love. Love is not obsession. Love is not possession. Love is not constant emotional highs. Real love carries responsibility. It carries accountability. It carries respect. And before you can recognize that kind of love, you must detach from distorted versions of it. Sometimes the greatest blessing is clarity about what you deserve. Clarity about what you will not tolerate. Clarity about what aligns with your future. And clarity does not grow in desperation. It grows in patience. When you are not rushing to fill a void, you can evaluate with wisdom instead of impulse. God also uses this season to confront your relationship with time. You may feel the pressure of age, culture, family expectations. You may hear subtle questions that make you uncomfortable. You may compare yourself to friends who seem ahead, but God is not bound by human calendars. He does not measure your life by social milestones. He measures by obedience, growth, sincerity. Time in God's hands is never wasted. If He has not released something yet, it is because the moment is not complete, and incomplete timing produces incomplete outcomes. God does not deliver half-formed blessings. He waits until alignment is precise, and precision requires patience. There is also a sacred courage forming inside you. The courage to say no without explanation. The courage to walk away without fear of replacement. The courage to stand alone without feeling inferior. This courage is not loud, but it is powerful. It is the quiet assurance that God's approval outweighs human acceptance. When you possess that kind of courage, you cannot be pressured into compromise. God kept you single because He is elevating your spiritual standards in ways that will protect your home before it is even built. A household founded on superficial attraction will shake under pressure, but a household founded on shared reverence for God stands firm. And before God entrusts you with that kind of union, He ensures that you understand its weight. Marriage is not merely companionship. It is responsibility. It is partnership in purpose. It is leadership, support, sacrifice, growth. And if you enter it without maturity, it becomes conflict instead of blessing. God refuses to let you carry something sacred before you are spiritually equipped. This waiting is not emptiness, it is equipping. In this season, God is strengthening your identity so deeply that when love comes, you will not dissolve into it. You will not lose your individuality. You will not abandon your calling. You will love fully while remaining firmly rooted in who God designed you to be. That balance is rare. Many people merge so completely into relationships that they forget their own dreams. They silence their own voices. They shrink their ambitions to avoid tension. But God is teaching you how to love without losing yourself. And that lesson must be learned alone before it is practiced together. God kept you single because He is stretching your faith beyond comfort. It is easy to believe when outcomes are visible. It is harder to believe when prayers remain unseen. But this is where faith becomes authentic. When you wake up and choose gratitude despite unanswered questions, when you celebrate others sincerely without internal resentment, when you continue honoring God without knowing the exact timeline of your own story, that is powerful faith. And powerful faith produces powerful outcomes. Do not underestimate what God can do in a single moment after years of preparation. He can align hearts unexpectedly. He can open doors effortlessly. He can orchestrate meetings that feel divinely arranged. But when that moment arrives, it will not feel chaotic. It will feel confirmed. It will resonate with the peace He has been building inside you. Peace is the signature of God's alignment. And until that peace appears, do not force movement. Stillness is not weakness. It is trust in motionless form. It is saying, God, I would rather wait for your best than rush into something I will regret. God kept you single because He is teaching you emotional stewardship. Your heart is valuable. Your affection is valuable. Your time is valuable. And you are learning not to distribute those gifts casually. You are learning that attention is an investment, that vulnerability is sacred, that commitment is not a game. This awareness changes how you move. You are no longer easily captivated. You observe patterns. You analyze consistency. You look for spiritual depth. You pay attention to character under stress. That vigilance is not paranoia. It is wisdom developed through experience and prayer. And let these truths settle deeply within you. God may be preparing you for something beyond what you have imagined. Sometimes you limit your expectations based on past exposure. But God's vision exceeds your assumptions. The partner He prepares for you may not fit your old checklist, but they will align with your evolved character. God does not match you based on superficial preference. He matches based on purpose. When two people unite under divine guidance, their strengths complement rather than compete. Their growth accelerates rather than stagnates. Their faith deepens rather than weakens. But such alignment cannot be rushed into existence. It must be cultivated individually first. Your singleness is not a sign of deficiency. It is evidence of divine investment. God invests heavily in what He plans to use significantly. He polishes what will reflect His wisdom. He strengthens what will carry responsibility. And if your season feels longer than expected, it may be because your calling carries greater influence. Greater influence requires greater preparation. Instead of asking, why am I still single? Begin asking, what is God shaping within me right now? Shift your focus from actions to growth, from longing to learning, from comparison to gratitude. Because gratitude transforms waiting into worship. When you thank God in advance, you demonstrate trust in His promise. When you praise Him before the blessing appears, you show maturity, and maturity attracts what immaturity repels. God kept you single because He is cultivating leadership within you. Leadership in your emotions, leadership in your decisions, leadership in your future household. You are learning how to manage conflict internally so you can manage it externally. You are learning how to calm storms within so you can calm storms around you. That kind of stability is priceless in a partnership. Imagine entering a relationship not out of fear but out of overflow. Not because you feel incomplete, but because you desire to share abundance. Not because you need saving, but because you are ready to build. That is the level God is preparing you for. And while the world may rush, while others may pressure, while impatience may whisper, remain anchored, remain disciplined, remain hopeful, remain surrendered. Because the same God who sustained you in solitude will sustain you in union. The same God who shaped your character in isolation will bless your companionship with wisdom. Your story is not delayed. It is being designed. Your heart is not overlooked. It is being guarded. Your future is not uncertain. It is being orchestrated. And as you continue walking in obedience, refining your character, strengthening your vision, and trusting God without demanding immediate proof, you are stepping closer to a season where alignment replaces anxiety, where clarity replaces confusion, where partnership reflects purpose, and where the sacred preparation of your singleness reveals itself as the greatest hidden blessing you never knew was shaping you into someone capable of carrying a love that honors God in strength, in patience, in discipline, and in unwavering devotion to the divine plan that has always been unfolding beyond what your eyes could see. So now, after everything you have heard, let this truth settle unshakably in your spirit. God did not keep you single to diminish you. He kept you single to define you. He did not withhold love to wound you. He withheld it to refine you. He did not delay your companionship to frustrate you. He delayed it to fortify you. You are never waiting in emptiness. You are growing in purpose. Every unanswered message was protection. Every closed door was redirection. Every lonely night was construction. While you were questioning the silence, God was strengthening your spirit. While you were wondering if you were forgotten, God was carefully aligning circumstances beyond your sight. While you were tempted to settle, God was shielding you from futures that would have weakened your destiny. You are not single because you are unwanted. You are single because you are being prepared for something sacred. And preparation always precedes elevation. Look at who you have become in this season. You pray differently. You think differently. You choose differently. You carry yourself with more discernment. You no longer beg for clarity. You require it. You no longer tolerate inconsistency. You walk away from it. You no longer fear solitude. You have learned to find strength in it. That transformation did not happen by accident. God was building endurance in you. He was anchoring your identity in Him alone, so that when love comes, it will not replace your foundation. It will rest upon it. He was teaching you that your worth is not determined by who chooses you, but by the one who created you. He was reminding you that your timeline is not governed by society, but by divine wisdom. And when the appointed time arrives, you will step into it not as someone desperate to be completed, But as someone already whole, you will not enter love out of fear, but out of faith. You will not compromise your values for acceptance, because you have learned that obedience to God is greater than temporary approval. You will not shrink to fit someone else's comfort, because you have grown too secure in who you are. This is the power of a seasoned surrender to God. So stop mourning what has not happened yet. Start honoring what is happening now. Stop measuring your life by milestones you see in others. Start measuring it by growth, discipline, and spiritual depth. Stop asking, when will it be my turn? And begin declaring, God's timing is perfect for me. Because it is. Your story is not late, it is layered. Your future is not uncertain, it is orchestrated. Your heart is not neglected, it is guarded by the one who sees the end from the beginning. And one day you will look back at this chapter, the waiting, the refining, the stretching, and you will realize it was never about being single. It was about being strengthened. It was about becoming someone capable of sustaining what you once only dreamed of. It was about trusting God so deeply that even in silence, you believed He was working. So walk forward with confidence. Stand firm in your standards. Protect your peace. Deepen your faith. Let God continue shaping you without resistance. Because when His plan unfolds, it will not be rushed, it will not be forced, and it will not require you to abandon who you are. It will align with the maturity He cultivated, the discipline He formed, the patience He strengthened, and the unwavering trust you chose to build in this sacred season when God kept you single, not to deny you, but to design you for something greater than you ever imagined.